You're listening to Ignite Your Success, a podcast that inspires fitness professionals to build a strong business that enables them to serve more people and engineer the lifestyle they desire. It's Brad Shepherd here, and together with Jason Ubanowicz, we're best known for running Trainer HQ, a community of passionate and profit-hungry fitness business owners that make a massive difference in others' lives every day. Each episode will unpack for you exactly what's working and deliver best practice strategies so you can confidently grow your business and make a huge impact. Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Trainer HQ podcast. And today I've got a very special guest, someone that I go back many years in the fitness industry, Bekk Millwood. Welcome, Bekk.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Many years. I like that. Don't say the actual number.
It is so many. Now, first things first, tell us a quick snapshot on your business. What is it and what do you do?
Okay, my business, I run a recruitment agency. So it's Fitness Lifestyle International. And basically I service the Australian market in the boutique wellness and fitness space. So most of your super boutiques and, franchises and things like that, and dealing in the sort of premium end of the market. So yeah, the multi-business unit, I suppose, when it comes to holistic wellness and fitness. It's a very difficult thing to categorize, I have to say, because it's so broad now with what the offerings are in these businesses. You know, we've outgrown fitness. We're into wellness. Yeah. We're into functional medicine. We're into, longevity and, all that genome mapping and MRIs and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite a scope now.
It's huge, yeah. And shortly we'll hear about some of the types of businesses you've worked with, because I love catching up with you because I always get to, catch up and find out what's happening in the industry and what the latest is and all the rest of it. Yeah. But, it didn't start like that. Let's talk about how we met each other.
Yeah, my God. Going right back. I think I was thinking about it this morning, and it honestly goes back to high school for me. Yeah. And that was when I laid eyes on you for the first time. It was an aerobics class you were delivering at my high school. So Clevo McKillop, if anyone else went there, Clevo McKillop at Mount Gravatt in Brisbane. And I think we'd cleared out one of our classrooms, and you came in in your red bandana and you were teaching us aerobics. And, my family has been in the gym community, since I was born. I was the kid that grew up on the gym floor before and after school. That's where we did our homework, and ultimately we were into sports and things from there. But that community. And then from there, I actually inevitably went into the registered training organisation, and it was FitLink at the time. Yep. And back then your Cert 3 was called Fitness Leader.
It went for about 10 days or so. Yep.
Yep. I don't remember the detail, but I remember the space, and I remember the room, and I remember you were also teaching, and you were also a part of that RTO. So in a weird way, you became an unofficial mentor of mine and, a way into the industry. But I followed the freestyle aerobics instructor's course as well. And I think you said that was 2-3 days? Or
that's weekend? Right. It was a weekend course. That's right. Yeah. So if we backtrack, this is all pre-Les Mills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's even before there was pre-choreographed, aerobics training. So you would have done FitLink. Well, what year would I have come to your high school then?
I think it was either 1990 or, dare I say, 89.
No.
Yeah, serious. Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're ahead of me for sure. So.
And you come to FitLink, I think, around about in mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
96 or so.
It was about 96.
Yeah, and that was also the time when I was started teaching there, around about 95, 96, where I started teaching at FitLink. And so good people that we both know, Gary and Deb Tapiolas, who really pioneered that space back then.
Truly.
Because there wasn't very many places to get certified as a fitness leader back then. Yeah. And they were one of the people who really engineered that pathway, didn't they?
Yeah, 100%. And I remember all the names and the coaches that you were mentioning
Dave before. Garton, Loretta Duras, Dirk Spitz. So anyone who's come through that time, that, 90s, 95, 96, 97, 98, it was a super cool time in the fitness industry. And also a time when the fitness industry was, changing and evolving. And yeah, they really gave me my opportunity to teach and do what I love. And I look at all these years later where I'm out, teaching and coaching others. You go, where did it all start? It was back at FitLink when they gave me a chance to say, hey mate, you can turn up here for an afternoon. And because of my background in strength training and all the rest of it, they said, look, we teach a component, a strength component. There's an opportunity for you to come and do an afternoon. Would you be open to it? Yes, please. Had the overhead projector and the slides and all that sort of stuff. And so it's fascinating.
I love hearing these stories. I love it. Just unpacking everyone's story and how they got to be where they are. And it's part of what I love doing. But and look at us now all these years later. So then for you didn't go straight to the industry, but so what was the next part of the journey? I was one of those people that didn't really do the best in school. You hear this story all the time, all the entrepreneurs. I didn't really jam with school, had to do things my own way. And I did, and I followed my own path. And what I did reflect on that I was doing, even though it was unconsciously probably, was following work that I loved and that what I really enjoyed. So I ended up building a career that I love. And it's what I curate to this day for other people as well. So basically I got into the bar industry and at the same time, I've always had 2 jobs by the way, because I never feel like I'm working. So at the same time I was working in the bar industry, I was working in Fridays. That was my first bar job.
Oh, Fridays.
And at the same time I was working in the Rock Patrol team for Triple M. So I was doing a lot of promotions and stuff like that as well. So I used to finish at like 2 a.m. in the morning and then go straight to do a brekkie crew, like outside broadcast for Triple M. And
wow, I could see you doing that. You would have been eating that up.
So fun.
Yeah.
That was when I was a night owl though. That doesn't exist now for me. I'm in bed by like 9.
But back then, that's the time when you got to mix work with social as well at that age as a young adult and so forth.
Yeah.
And Gee, the Triple M Rock Patrol.
Pot of fun times and, meeting great people and just experiencing everything, which formulates, what you love and eventually, your career and things like that. But didn't know we were doing that at the time, but it was forming a base for the future for me.
Yeah. And then you re-entered, went back and did your Cert 3 and Cert 4 in 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Through AIF?
Yeah. AIF, graduated Cert 4 in 2005 with some incredible, once again, mentors and course coaches. And I went straight off the back of my course into working full-time as a PT for one of my course, or a couple of my course coaches actually. And more names that we know in the industry. So Ben Butler and Ed Curtin. I was working for those guys.
Amazing people,
amazing mentors. I talk to Ed to this day. That was an incredible experience as well. And then that I worked with multiple brands then after that sort of led into, working with Healthwise Global and Vision PT and, a number of private gyms and things like that here in Brisbane, all around Kangaroo Point, CrossFit pound for pound.
Wow, it would have been early CrossFit days then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, actually. So, some boxing gyms, all of that sort of stuff. So, once again, spread myself into every experience and worked out from there what I loved and then really niched down into women's body sculpting. Yeah. So, that was me for the next 15 years. And, even from there, it niched down again into, your biosignature stuff and into sports supplements. And then I got into sports supplement sales. And,
wow.
Yeah. So the journey unfolds.
We also reconnected at a time when you were with AIPT at the RTO there. So you were involved with that organisation. Paul Timms was running it then, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So in that role, I was industry engagement. So it was my role to, keep everyone engaged and making sure they're having incredible experience with their course, but also mentoring managing our mentors. Yeah. So we had about 200 mentors, student mentors across the country. And they all needed to be, looked after as well and make sure they were having a great experience and getting what they needed from us. So a whole lot of people I'm still in contact with to this day who are another level of mentors in the industry.
Yeah. So, How phenomenal. Now, you said something just before about, for you personally, you engineered, for you it was about engineering a life where you're doing what you love. Is that, you probably put it into words better than me, but is that forms part of your ethos today and also, I guess, the backbone of what you do and help other people with?
It's honestly what it's boiled down to. I can look at all the services and products and things that I can offer from my business and all of those sort of things, but ultimately all of those things just boil down into helping candidates create careers that they'll love, and helping clients build all-star teams. So they're really the two purposes that I have behind what I do, and that's what services, the two sides of the audience that I work with.
Yeah, it's so phenomenal and so critical in this day and age. For that to occur.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned big teams. Let's talk about some of the people you've worked with and some of these bigger players, because I'd love to hear about them and some of your experience inside those sort of organisations.
Yeah, well, as we know, we've been around for, decades and decades, and we have seen the industry evolve.
Yep.
And it's to a point now where, there's a lot more going on than just fitness. We've evolved more than fitness. So there's a lot of different business offerings happening in these bigger locations, and I'm probably most well known for working with One Playground down in Sydney, who are doing absolutely incredible things, and you'll see it unfold on the social media. And
massive business, and amazing business model, a great leader,
does an amazing job. Yeah, undeniable.
The clubs are so bougie and just so amazing, right?
Exactly. But you can have that's another good point. You can have the most amazing product and the most amazing facilities. Yeah. But if you don't have a dream team running it, if you don't have an all-star team making that work, then, you're bleeding money. It's not going to work, So having the insight that I have, I'm really sort of lucky to be able to be on the inside with a lot of these clients and a lot of these clients' businesses. So having an insight into their culture and what makes dream teams work and what doesn't. And you will see it in retention. You'll see it in retention of your staff, the happiness of your staff, and the reflection then on your members. And are they staying? Are they being looked after? Happy staff are high performing.
Yep.
So, it is, you can have great teams, but you got to look after them as well. And, like I say all the time, I'm not going to send people to their doom. So I really choose my clients very carefully.
Yeah.
Those with great cultures and great leadership. And sort of make that with obviously their values, their alignment, where they're headed in their careers and things like that. So
yeah, it's phenomenal. And I imagine this doesn't just stop at, let's say, a personal trainer on the gym floor. So give us an example in a place where you might have had to sort of recruit more than one type of a skill set.
In businesses of this size as well. And, we're dealing with everything from career changes, people coming into the industry for the first time. So we've got students graduating, and they're coming into brand new. So I'm dealing with everything from students all the way through to C-suite. So we've got, your sales teams, as you would imagine, all the different departments. You've got your sales departments, you've got your club management, depending on the size of the business, you might have a head office team as well. Then you've got your fitness professionals, but then they're broken down into as well. You've got your PT team, but not just PTs now. You've got performance coaches as well, which is another entirely different beast. Dare not call a performance coach a PT, I'll tell you now. And then in your group fitness side of things, like the methodologies are endless, and that's even split now as well into fitness and wellness methodologies as well. So they're even split in further. So most places will have, 3 teams within a department as well. So, but all depending on the size of the business, obviously.
Yeah, that's great. So would you say that for your current business model, that would represent someone like your ideal client?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even, I deal with a lot of franchises as well. So there's a lot of, requirement for what I do or support for clients in the franchise market as well. So people who are buying franchises and, who may not have a background in the industry, who need help with building a team or the, fitness professional network and all that sort of stuff. So I do a lot with pre-opens and building pre-sales teams and opening teams and things like that, getting them started. Yeah,
so you might come in and it might be more like a project of some description, and it may potentially have a start and an end date, and this might be could it be a 3 or a 6 month project depending upon the nature of the facility?
Exactly. So there's different ways of working where we have the project-based work. There's retained work as well where we're ingrained and in part of the department, as I was at One Playground. So, working with them ongoing as they scale the business and working with strategy and systems and processes to make sure we have a great candidate experience. We're talent pooling for future businesses, and we're also creating an incredible employee experience as well to retain them and make sure that they're growing in their roles as well.
Yeah, it's so
There's
important.
so much more to it than interviews.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what people see a lot of the time. Oh, we can interview, we can do the hiring. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can run interviews, but often it's going to be not the major part of your role. It's something you're doing as part of a role which you're probably really busy and dedicated to other things in. So there isn't, they're not talent pooling at that time. They're not having the deeper conversations, and it's often very reactive and not proactive, and that doesn't lead to building your all-star teams, which is ultimately what we want.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to hear that, because one of the philosophies I had when I was growing my team of PTs, and I didn't have the luxury of somebody like yourself, right? Yeah. So what I learned was it's not the one person you hire, but the 99 you turn away in the process.
Yeah.
And to go through that you need a system behind it, and it's laborious,
yep.
you know? So
and think of those 99 people that you're not getting back to.
Yeah.
And they're leads that you've paid for.
Correct.
You know, can they be funneled into another part of the business? Are they not right for working with you now or ever?
Potentially in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or, but can they be members? So you can, you create these systems and funnels and things like that where they need to you need to leverage a great candidate experience, because you've got 100 people there.
Yeah.
One or two of them might be right to work for you.
Yeah.
And then the other, what are you doing with the rest of them? You're just dropping them away, or they just sit there in your Seek account.
That's right.
And then the next time you go to hire, it's a different time, it's a different, place, and you're paying again to have those leads come back.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Such a powerful word you use too in terms of viewing it as a lead, because the other thing I always viewed is to go, just like having a lead generation strategy in your business to invite more clients in. You want to have a lead gen strategy to invite more team members, especially when you don't need them.
Yes, exactly. Always hiring. You need to be always hiring and considering what you're doing with all those. The purpose of me is to save you time and money when it comes to hiring and the hiring process. So, you're spending money on recruitment marketing and getting these leads and stuff like that. But, what can we do with the rest of them?
Yeah.
So there's a funnel for everything, and a nurture campaign or a nurturing system for all of that.
Yeah. It's so powerful. It brings me back to the times when I had a situation when I had a trainer. We had a team of 13 trainers. Everything was going great. And then I had 2 trainers who were leaving. I had a bunch of clients who wanted to keep training, time slots, all the rest of it, but I didn't have the right person. And there's nothing worse than hiring someone in desperation or who's not the right fit. So tell us a bit about that and your experience and what you've seen of putting the wrong person in, maybe.
It can be detrimental. They're obviously going to need more conversations, more management, more mentoring. That's taking time away from your head of departments or your management team and that sort of thing. They're also, whether you like it or not, it's seeping out into your membership. Like, people notice a happy employee or not happy employee. So, your members are going to notice that experience as well. And if they're not happy, they're like, oh, he doesn't like working here. Maybe there's something wrong. That's that sort of thing as well. So you can't keep people like that in your business for just as a placeholder, which is often what happens, because, we're really strapped. We'll figure it out in the end, but at the moment we really need them. Yeah. So they keep them on, but you got to look at that as well. But
So imagine over the years you've had plenty of conversations with business owners who might say a similar thing and might say, hey man, I'd love to do something, but we're a bit cash strapped and all that sort of stuff. How do you navigate that situation with somebody and show them, hey, this is going to be so valuable for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, even if people aren't ready for working with you right now, there's still a lot of value we can have in conversations. I put a lot of content out on the website and things like that, and LinkedIn is huge for me. Yeah. So there's a lot of, best practice advice that is put out as well. So there's free resources there and things like that.
Yeah.
If you've got, and this is where people come up with the blockage, is if they have time to implement it in their business, and that's often what they don't. So that's what I specialize in. Is I do that all day, every day. I do it in my sleep. I do it on weekends. Like, I just thrive on this stuff. So if you can have someone with a mind like that, reviewing your current systems and experience for people, it's really going to add a lot of value. But yes, I understand that it's not for everyone straight away, but there are definitely tiers to what we do and how we can plug into your business. Very, very flexible.
Makes sense. And the other part is you would have a very large database and a large following, and so
that's
therefore
the whole point
that's gold.
of me.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, over the many years, there's been acquired a lot of contacts, and so with that comes efficiency and speed. You know, you can put your ads out and run them for a month and go through all the hundreds of applications that won't be right. And or you can have a chat and go, hey, who do you know? We can plug them in next week. It's happened a lot recently. You know, we've solved problems in 24 hours. That's
great. It's so good.
That's a conversation I'm just always having the conversations that you need to be to keep up with where people are in the market. People move around so quickly and so often, and you might have spoke to them last year, but they might have been in 2 roles since then. So it's good to know their hopes and dreams and what they are ideally looking for, and then timing as well is a massive part of it.
And I can speak firsthand from the benefits of being able to have that. Doing it the old way, i.e. I do it all, and control it all. The new way is you get someone to be able to champion that for you. The way I would probably put it into words from what I'm hearing you say is, you know what good looks like in all these different areas. And it takes me back to when taking myself out of the fitness industry. When we purchased our first property, we were specifically purchasing a property where we wanted to add value to. We wanted to make some money on it and all the rest of it. So we looked at and physically walked into, made offers on 120 houses before we bought the house, right?
Yeah, right.
The one we bought, we knew that the asking price, everything about it ticked the box, right? So it was like, at that point in time, we knew what good looked like because we'd seen so many of them. Yeah. We'd thrown in so many offers. We'd had so many negotiations, conversations, entered into agreements and all the rest of it. And it's probably the part for a lot of people, you know, if you take yourself back to the fitness industry, see the first person, they rock up, oh yeah, this person looks good enough, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Throw them into a role.
It's that conversation of mastery, right? You get great at what you're consistent at what you spend thousands and thousands and thousands of hours doing. And for me, that's people. So the formula, I suppose, for making great placements for me is having the experience, having the intuition as well that you've built up, you know, over time, but also profiling, you know, being able to profile someone and unpack them in a way that, you know, they feel like they tell you everything. And so that really helps in matchmaking, which is what it is ultimately. But also from my client side, and where the success comes and where the magic comes, is they let me know, or I am able to understand their culture at a level and the people in their business at a level where matching behaviors is a big part of it as well. So understanding someone and their profile and their drivers, their motivations, their biological behaviors, you know, there's a lot to it. But instead of just sitting at someone and going through their resume with them, you know, forget the resume, talk to the human. And I often talk about it being the human element is really what I'm plugging in. You can do all everything else in your business, leave the human element to me, because I thrive on it. I'm obsessed with it. And that's where the mastery comes.
And knowing what questions to ask. That's the other thing, you know, for a lot of people, they sit in front of someone. So, tell us about yourself, you know?
Exactly.
You know what questions to ask. And I also assume that you would know how to put somebody under a certain level of pressure to go, all right, let's see what happens when I put them under a bit of pressure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely the stress test, and that really comes into it for a lot of roles. And also the leaders that they'll be working with. So if you understand the leadership team and the head of departments and even the other team members that they'll be working with, it's like, this is the dynamic in this business. This person might have the skill set, but do they have the personality profile or the, you know, demeanor to fit and thrive in this team?
Yep.
So it's an intimate knowledge of both sides.
Yeah. Well, let's now talk about what do we talk? You know, different generational. Gen. What do we got? Gen.
Gen Y and Z is who we probably deal with most of the time, actually, at the moment, and in this space. You know, your 25 to 35-year-olds and that sort of thing. But also, you know, and I was saying to you earlier, we're now dealing with a category that's Generation Alpha. They're our next employees. You know, so when I talk about the way we hire has changed, and I've been talking about that for years, it changes every year because we've got an entirely new audience, an entirely new demographic entering the workforce, and they have different needs. Look at the, technology we've got available to us these days. They speak a different language. And it freaks me out. And I'm having to learn all this as well.
Alphas were born after what year?
I can't actually remember.
Would it be 2000 or would it be even later than that?
I should have looked it up. I'm not sure. But
all right.
They've got they have an entirely language of their own, as we know. There's words in their vocabulary we don't even know yet. They speak to each other on TikTok and Snapchat, and so, you've got to be where the audience is, and especially in the fitness space, and I deal in hospitality as well, so the food and beverage space as well. Totally Instagrammable markets. So, you can't just be landing on Seek, and you can't just be playing on LinkedIn because a lot of your fitness professionals will not, and for hospitality as well, will not ever play on LinkedIn unless they're of a senior level. So you've got to go to where they are, which is Meta. So you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you've got to be in all the groups, you've got to be following all the conversations, and they will spill their guts on those platforms as well. So, and then the next level is, this TikTok and Snapchat thing that's where they live as well. And now everyone's saying to me, well, you got to be on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't want to be on TikTok because I don't want to be on social media at all, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah. It's where your future clients are currently hanging out.
Got to hang out where your audience is. So you are missing a huge part of the market if you're only advertising on Seek.
Yeah.
Or, that sort of thing. So,
and I have heard that, and I have not so much experienced it ourselves of late, but we've heard people say, hey, I used to put an ad on Seek and I'd get a lot of inquiries, and now that seems to have dried up.
Yeah.
So is your opinion, and that could be a direct result of the fact that this is now becoming wider and broader, the opportunities?
There's all these other playing fields, and that's just online. You've got to attend events, you've got to show your face, you've got to be on podcasts, you've got to, spread yourself wide to be in front of all these people, and then connect with them on their level as well, speak their language, have their conversation, and then you've got to have brands that appeal to that. So, I talk a lot about employer brand and employer value proposition. You've got an employer brand out there in the market, whether you like it or not, whether it's on purpose or not. So make sure it's on purpose. So that a lot of thought and strategy should be put into that, because the wider industry sees you in a certain way. You want to make sure that you've curated that on purpose, so that it's not just whatever's out there.
It's phenomenal. I love chatting about it, and I think about, so my kids, I call them kids, teenagers. My daughter Sophia, she's 15, turning 16 soon. Dexter's 14. They're both keen gymnasts. They both have got their first coaching roles at the YMCA here in Brisbane, Bowen Hill. So they've got their first paid employment, which is amazing. But I think when you talk about language and so forth, like Dexter, my son, I'm constantly correcting his grammar on SMSs where he doesn't use a capital I when he puts the word I, and he's going, Dad, that's how we do it. Like there's no time to hit the button to press the capital I, and I meticulously, I want the stuff to grammatically come across. I get
it as well from applicants, and it kills my soul. Like, I'll get a text message at 9:30, 11 o'clock at night. Just, they think that they can just text you. I'm like, I'm a hiring manager. Please have some respect. But they don't, and they don't see it that way. They're just like, you're accessible. I'll just put this here. And you're right. There's no capitals. There's no great grammar. There's no all of that. But I tell you what, your clients are still looking for that. So please, write proper cover letters, do a proper resume and all that sort of stuff, because, they still want you to have proper grammar, and you'll be dealing with their customers. You need to reflect the level of the brand that you're going to work with.
Yeah.
And so, no matter what, all these messages and half thought out cover letters and emails and things like that, it makes a difference. First impressions make a huge difference, and I will cut you so fast if you're not the professional that I'm looking for, because that's what my clients need. So you're actually helping me with the recruitment process by sending me an 11 p.m. SMS.
It's cool. Hey, it's so phenomenal to delve into it.
Yeah.
So some any other key players you want to share, like any other clients? Because I get fascinated hearing about like the type of people you work with and the type of recruitment.
Who's doing it well? Look, there's obviously a lot of brands doing it well. Everything is expanding right now, as we know. The aggressive expansion conversation is, every brand is having that at the moment. So where we're pulling all these fitness professionals from, you got me, but I'm running myself rampant trying to be in every place, and even with the career partners, with the RTOs, we've got all the relationships with all the RTOs, and there's something like 92 operating RTOs in Australia alone. And I probably deal with maybe the top 10. But we're getting them all the way from career changing, straight into students. We're connecting with them there. We're hoping they're getting the great, great course coaches like we had. And then into mentors from there. So
but also the game has changed, and there is a lot of online.
There is a lot of online
learning now. We know that's a fact, and COVID definitely changed the game in that area
and that
too.
Online learning in itself is creating a space for an industry ready program situation in between all of that as well, because they come out of these courses. Yep, you got your cert, but now you're going to have to start learning. And in what capacity are you ready? So there's certain brands that I can plug you into at that point, but there's certain brands that you'll never be able to. Create an entry with just a certificate like that. So please choose your learning, on purpose as well, and find great mentors and keep great mentors all the way throughout the career.
And if not, you need to find the pathway which is going to teach you the practical skills. Because my mantra is always, you got to do your time under the squat rack, right?
You got to do your time.
And again, there's people can actually get certified in this day and age, all due respect to the RTOs, but people can get certified without doing one practical component.
It's your ticket to entry, really. And then you can, you start your learning, and it might be on the job with certain places and things like that, and other mentors, and even from your PT. I had a PT my whole life because I chose the greatest PTs I could find, and I learned from them just in my PT sessions and stuff like that. So always have a coach. It's
the best thing you can do to enhance yourself professionally is to get someone who's a few steps ahead of you in the game, or has the skill sets that you desire to have and to learn from. And again, you look for what good looks like.
And if you're a contractor and you're, running your own business, running your own show and things like that, that's awesome. But where do you then find your growth? Where are you? How are you professionally developing from there as well? So, you want to be attending all these summits, and you want to be having a coach, because you don't see what's going on in the rest of the industry, and you could be being left for dead, so you can't keep doing things the way you've always done it. You've got to innovate or die. That's just the way it works.
You mentioned contractor, and that's sparked my curiosity. So I guess if we rewind back to forever many years ago when we entered the industry, and there's a job called a gym instructor, that's where I physically started. It was you went there, and what did you do? Someone came in the gym, you write a program for them, you put it on the cardboard, and you show them around, and then how do you get good at writing programs and coaching people? You do hundreds of those, right? And then that eventually progressed into becoming a PT. Now that gym instructor job kind of phased out for quite a period there. It was very rare for that to occur. But one thing I have noticed in certain places, and I guess there became the growth of the rent-based trainer. So in most gyms, they followed the rent-based model. You pay a rental fee, you run your business, it's up to you, you get it sorted. But I have noticed a trend sort of maybe delving back into a model where, once again, the trainer is employed by the club, or there is a gym instructor role where someone can progress into it. Is that also something that you're witnessing?
There's
and
a lot of employment happening these days, and there's a lot of shift from, having contractors in the business to the employed model. And I think a lot of the thought process around that is a higher engagement of team. You have a lot of what we call FIFO instructors, fly in, fly out, who aren't really engaged with the culture of the business. And I think, and it depends on the business model, and look, they all work differently and in their own ways. So there's a place for all of it somewhere. But I have seen a lot of shift into employing again because of that engagement factor, and also they're listening to the candidates and what the candidates want as well. Coaches want security, so there's, that people are buying houses and all that sort of stuff. They want to set themselves up. And in these professional spaces, they're looking for, job security and growth. They're probably told top two of the things that are, what's important to you in your next role. They want that security and they want the ability to grow and learn. So if you've got that environment, then that's who you're attracting. But yeah, there's still a place for contractors as well and people who want to run their own business. And
100%.
I went straight from college into my own contractor business. So so I started out in a different way, but I did go through the programming in the gyms and stuff like that in other roles. But yeah, I mean, it can be quite, I guess, a lonely environment when you're out there just doing it on your own for many, many, many years and spreading yourself across the city and, going to clients and all that sort of stuff. And it helps with consolidation into one place. Yeah.
And again, I guess there's so much room in the industry for everyone.
Yeah.
So much opportunity.
It really is.
People out there aren't getting any skinnier, right? So the demand for what we do as fitness professionals is just going to keep growing, right?
100%.
So then you look at people who want to run their own business. That's the type of people we attract at Trainer HQ, right? So they want help. They want autonomy. They want to learn the business systems, processes. But then you've got another section of the market who, like you said, are looking at it from a completely different lens.
Yep.
And I think it's really good. I think it's great from a development point of view where people can enter the industry and have a learning phase where they can grow. And hey, who knows, after 18 months, 2 years of doing that, I might be confident enough to want to take that next step. And that might be a career
support
progression.
And there's structure in those environments, and different biologies and different people, they need different things out of their employment. Some people can just go on and do their own show and do all of the things and ultimately burn out, but if you're smart. But then moving into these businesses where there is a really great structure, there's a learning and development department, there's different levels to your role and that sort of stability and growth available, that's really attractive space as well for a lot of people, especially if you're just starting out.
Agree. Now, with a lot of the people we deal with at Trainer HQ, a lot of them may be either on a shoestring budget or not really have a budget to be able to get the luxury of getting help, right? Although they've got probably the right mindset to go, hey, I would really love to have that. They might be doing it themselves. Could you share a couple of, I guess, tips or insights or things that you'd say would be critical for someone in a hiring process to really consider, or things that they want to put in place?
For the client wanting to hire people.
Let's say I'm a personal trainer, and let's say that I'm running my PT business and I'm at capacity, and I'm about to take on my first trainer, and I don't know where to find them. I'm not sure what I should do.
Sure.
What are some of your must-dos or things that you think someone should put in place?
I mean, unfortunately, it's still a really manual situation. I mean, you can go to town with your marketing and all that sort of stuff, and you might attract people that way, but I just go back to brand. That's going to be your biggest and most organic, I guess, attraction piece. So if you've got people to help you with content and marketing and all that sort of stuff, that's great. If you don't, then that's what you need to focus on. Being laser focused in your personal brand and your business brand, and that will attract, your market, not only your clients, but it'll attract people who want to work with you and that sort of thing as well. So always coaching candidates on brand and their personal brand and what they're putting out there, but it's the same with clients. So their brand is what's attracting their members, and their employer brand is what's attracting their new staff members and people who want to work with them. So I mean, you can then sort of step into the realm of paid meta advertising and things like that, boosting your posts and stuff like that's a way to get to bigger audience with a lower budget instead of going to market with all that sort of stuff. But you can spend hours putting yourself in the room like I do. Just make sure you're at every industry event, you're talent scouting, you're asking for referrals from like-minded people in the industry or people you respect or your mentors or things like that. Like, nothing's off the table. You put yourself in every opportunity to find these people, and luckily if you're only looking for one person to join your team, then it shouldn't take that long. If you're doing a great job, there'll already be people quite close to you that you can sort of just ask and leverage.
And from there, like I was saying before, the next step I always viewed it is you want to build a database, not just a database of prospective clients and people who could be a paying member of your business, but you want to build this database of potential candidates who could come and be part of what it is that you've got. And that part's so important, and it's probably the part I see a lot of people neglect and not stay open to all those possibilities.
And like it is in gyms as well, your members or your clients can also be future employees.
Yep.
So keep that in mind as well. If someone's like loving what you do, if they're an ambassador for you and what you do, like have the conversation. They might be like so pumped. They're interested in an industry change or coming to work for you. And, you know, they're some of your most engaged future candidates, future employees.
The walking, talking evangelists.
The people on your gym floor.
Yeah.
Look what happened with us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Hey, I guess in the industry, like it could be a 6 to 12 month journey for someone to go from a standing start to being put in a position. And the beauty is, if you're already training that person, they're part of your team. Well, you're doing the training, you're doing the development of those people.
Yeah. They'll speak your language before you even, they'll be speaking your language and singing your praises from the get-go.
Yeah.
They're your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our model at Trainer HQ is exactly that. So right now we've got team of 12 business coaches that deliver the lion's share of the coaching and consulting work. And of the 12, 10 of them have been clients of Trainer HQ, have come through the system. They've spent many years, and many of them from a standing start, spending years on our program, building themselves up, building their business to the next level, getting to the point where they've set their business up in such a way that it's functioning and that they can start to remove themselves from the business while it still runs. And spend time to coach and mentor others and now give back, so it satisfies that role as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's obviously the dream machine working.
Yeah. It's definitely our recruitment process. And we talk, we have some of our coaches who are, been with us for 8 or 10 years and said, one of my turning points was when you guys sat me down and tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey man, I want you to consider the idea that you could become a coach for us, and like that was the next level for me.
Yeah, it's a magic moment for them as well, being recognised for their achievements and things like that. That's
Yeah. So similarly, we go back to the personal trainer who's in this situation in the gym or whatever it might be, and to tap that client, that person on the shoulder, and to go, hey man, have you ever thought about this? And it just starts with an idea, right?
And it goes both ways too. Put your hand up. Like if you're wanting to take the next step in your career, if you're wanting more leadership responsibilities or any, education, mentoring responsibilities in your team, put your hand up as well. Don't wait for the business to come and ask you. Like they will oftentimes, they love people taking action and having that, internal drive to progress themselves as well.
Yeah.
So maybe they haven't thought of it yet, but, put it in front of them and they might say yes.
Yeah.
So
good. All right, let's now flip it around to the other way. So let's say I'm a PT and I'm like, all right, I want to start putting myself out there and finding the right type of place. Mm-hmm. Where do I go, and what are the things? What are some tips that you recommend?
Well, I love this conversation because one of the first things I ask candidates is there anyone that you're watching, any brands or any facilities that you're watching that are doing it well that really resonate with you. So then we're talking about alignment of values and culture and stuff like that. So if they're like, oh, well, I want to work for so-and-so, or I love how they're doing this and whatever, then we curate conversations in that space. Or I can, give them advice on how that culture and leadership works and, what they need to present in order to be an attractive candidate when they're talking to those people. But yeah, often we can skip the list of Seek applications that they're looking for. If you're working with, a talent scout or a talent acquisition manager, you can often skip that process, and I'll just put you straight with the big dog, and they can, have those conversations from there because I'm confident that you fit the team because I understand their team. So, and then they obviously have the trust and respect that I know how to present their brand because essentially I'm a brand ambassador for everyone that I work with.
Yeah.
So I know how to present their brands in the way that they need to. I use their language, all of that sort of stuff. And because I work with people I love, I am authentically passionate about what they do. And that comes across in our conversations. So that's what I'm looking for in the right candidate to match those conversations as well.
Yeah.
So we just unpack all of
so
those
powerful.
things.
I mean, you can hear the passion, the enthusiasm come out in your voice when you say that, and having known you for all the years I have, and that's actually what I see of you. And that's, like I said, I get to, when we have our catch-ups, I get to catch up on what's happening in the industry. And I know when we caught up at the, when we were down at the fitness conference and you saw me, hey man, you're coaching Tilly. And I'm like, yeah. And then similarly, all these people we know, Vicky Power, who's now part of the program, so we have all these like-minded connections. But that's the thing, hey, you really that stuff is just so paramount.
It is to putting people in the right room with the right people at the right time. So having an understanding of all of that sort of stuff, what's happening in their business, what the timeframes are to their next open, or what's going on within their teams. Someone might be moving. These are all the things you don't know from the outside, you know. So it's very, very beneficial to have an insider who's working for you, I suppose, on both sides.
It's cool. And I guess the other part to someone hunting for a role or even a position in a gym or whatever it might be is to go out and physically hunt for it, knock on doors.
Absolutely. So whatever happened to that? I used to rock up with my resume and I'd be like, I really want to work here. That's what we still need to do. But obviously, we're doing it through different platforms and things these days, and there's a process to it or whatever.
Yeah.
But, if you can do that, that still works.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there.
Reminds me of a story, probably this would have been back in maybe 06, 07, thereabouts. A trainer who became part of Peak Physique, Zach Williams, he come through AIF, through the Karen Rowena phase, Benny Butler, probably not long after your era.
That's my era.
And he lived up in Moranbah, and he come down and do the course, and I turned up to one of the industry and I'd get invited along. Hey, the course is finishing. We love you to turn up and, spend 15, 20 minutes chatting to the PTs about what the industry's like and share a bit of your experience.
It's a shame they don't do that anymore either.
Yeah, so I had that opportunity, and consequently, as a result of that, I got to attract a lot of good candidates who would apply for jobs. And of course, I go to my post box, and what turns up is this big sort of parcel. I go, because it's got my curiosity, and it was all sort of gift wrapped and all the rest of it. And inside it was Zach's resume. Yep. And so I was like, oh yeah, obviously you got my attention now, right? So it's not just the email it through.
Not hard to go the extra mile.
Not hard. What did it cost him? All of $10 or whatever. You know. So anyway, I responded and I said, hey man, that's awesome. Thanks for that. Really appreciate it. Where are you? I'm in Moranbah. I said, okay, sweet man. If you ever rock up in Brisbane, look me up. You know. Next minute, I get this message, and this might have been weeks or a couple of months. I can't remember exactly how long, but he rocks up and he goes, mate, I'm in town. I said, oh, sweet, mate, come by the gym, have a coffee. He rocks up and we sit down for a coffee, and I go, oh, what's the plan? He goes, you told me to look you up when you're in Brisbane. And he goes, yes, so I'm here. I said, okay, what's your plan? He goes, oh, well, I come to work for you. And I go, all right, and do you have any other plans? No, this is it. Like, I want to be this. And I'm just going, this guy, he's put himself in a position to win. And I'm going, well, I think we better find a spot for you then, right? So,
people overlook that, the power of that. And with the way that it's gone with all these different platforms and ways of connecting and all that sort of stuff, it's come to, and I see it every day, the bare minimum. People are doing the bare minimum and going, hey, why aren't they picking me? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you exactly why. How about, you put yourself in the room, or you actually write a cover letter speaking to why you are in alignment with this brand or this team, or, your future goals and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's so easy to go the extra mile.
So easy.
Easier than ever. Than ever.
Yeah.
And that will, like, even reaching out for myself, as someone who's applied for a job or whatever, I might get hundreds of resumes, but they'll send me a message on LinkedIn introducing themselves and saying, hey, I applied recently, I'd love to have a chat, blah, 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 straight to the top of the list. I will call that person immediately because they're showing, they're putting themselves out there. They're,
some initiative.
Taking some initiative is the word. Yeah, exactly. And that's what you want to see. They're the people my clients want on their team. They're the people I want to talk to because I can spend my year talking to 1,000 people, but the ones that are really going to light me up are the conversations that I want to have. Like, make sure you're putting yourself in that light. Why do I want to talk to you? Show me why. Give me a reason.
Yeah. And that just extends to really any element of business or life. So it's not just applying for a job. It's like, all right, if you want to get yourself around the right people or whatever, like, take that step in the right direction.
And also, I don't deal in jobs. I deal in careers. So unless you that's job behavior. You can get yourself a job, but if you want to, if you're serious about having a great career and having a career that you'll love and being in with the top brands and the top performers and the top mentors, if you want to be in that room, then we can have that conversation, but it's going to take a higher level of effort.
Yeah, that's that statement there. That's it.
Yeah, that is it.
It's like mic drop. that's phenomenal. Hey, Bekk, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I really get fascinated by this topic. I could chat all day about it. So
there's a lot of years to chat about.
There's a lot of history, isn't there? So let's say your ideal clients out there, they're listening to this, they're tuning in.
Yeah.
What's the best way they can get a hold of you, or where do they reach out? Is there a social channel, or what's
the beauty of me? I am entirely accessible, too accessible. So yeah, look, LinkedIn, the website, all of your social media. I'm pretty easy to find on all of those.
All under your personal
under
name.
Bekk Millwood. You just Google Bekk Millwood and you'll find a way to chat with
me.
me.
It's B-double-K, right?
B-double-K. Yep.
Yeah.
All the doubles.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so MILL.
Yep. WOOD.
How many times have you said that one?
Too many. And yeah, you want to say it with a fresh mind or it just all blends in.
Yeah, that's cool. So that, and then on the flip side, I'm imagining, like you said, you've got information, there's content, there's people, there's stuff that people can tune into to learn more about this.
Different ways of working together, and not even working together. If you just want some advice, if you want some resources, it's all there on the website or on LinkedIn on the company page, or just call me, and I'm happy to have individual conversations about your individual circumstances. Everything I do is entirely confidential, both for candidates and clients, so it doesn't matter where you're at or what you're planning. It's always locked in the vault.
You'd spit out a few words in the average day, wouldn't you?
Oh my God. This is why we have to do an early morning podcast, because by 3 p.m. I can barely form a sentence, and by the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, the voice starts to get a bit crackly, as you can probably tell. So but I
can see it juices you, right? So because for some people it's like they may find it exhausting but like it's obviously gives you energy. I love hearing
people's stories. I love it. I love talking about our story. I love talking about anyone's stories. Everyone has such a unique story behind them as to where they got to where they are, why they are the way they are, and what they're looking towards. What are their dreams and goals? I mean, that stuff inspires me. Yeah.
Love it. So good. Look, thank you for coming. Thanks for
no problem. Love it.
Putting the time in for this, and it's really great to connect. And thanks for the insights, because I know that the people tuning to this are gonna find this highly valuable. So
I'm full of it.
That's great. And actually, we didn't tell anyone tuning into this that we both we got a bottle of really nice tequila sitting out there. And just before we walked in,
thank you, Justin Ashley.
I'm like, maybe we need a tequila before this, and tell me about your insight then.
Yeah, well, in the tequila space?
Yeah, well, you said you had a bottle sitting there. You thought maybe I should bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this morning I was just thinking about things, and I was thinking about, the recent trip, and, very, very blessed recently. Justin from One Playground sent me up a bottle of premium tequila, and I'm like, maybe we should have this conversation over a bottle of tequila and stuff like that. It is a health food after all. So, 100% agave, no additives. I'm really excited about this bottle, I have to say. And you just sip on them, and as we know, tequila is an upper, so only good times happen with tequila, and I'm all about the good vibes. So it fits very, very well, this conversation, and any conversation for that matter. You
had that thought, and then you rocked in here and I said that, and you go, oh my God, like
I can't believe you just said that.
The wavelengths were tuning in.
I was putting it in the backpack, and I'm like, no, you won't want to do that. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I 100% got here, and I'm like, trust your gut. You've got to listen to my gut in the future, because my gut told me to bring it at least 5 times. I nearly drove back to get it.
Sets us up for a part 2 to this episode.
I'm doing it next time, and we will have a part 2 to this.
Done. Lock it in.
Awesome.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much, Bekk Millwood. It's been bloody awesome. So signing off from the Trainer HQ podcast.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.